Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh, my alert. Oh shit, did it go off? No, it didn't. My bad. Hello. What the heck? My camera's not on. Wait, restart. Restart. Nachos, you didn't see that. No one saw that. How embarrassing. Oh my god. That was on me. I forgot I turned it off. I went to eat lunch, turned it off, and told myself I was gonna turn it back on. Let's see. Is it working now? Oh, wait. Okay. Everybody pretend that nothing happened, okay? Will it go? Oh! Nachos, you didn't see shit! Hello! Mess with who let the dogs out? You did, apparently. You want me to rage for a minute? Why do you want me to rage? I just started! Oh, she's right here, though. I promise she's right here. Hello! Thank you. Oh yeah, okay, hold on. What did you just say? Accurate short person yell. What the hell? Y'all got Toad coming out. That's fucked up. Hijo de la chingada madre. Nachos, ¿qué chucha acabo de decir? Wow. Ni Frida quiere hablar contigo. Oye, Frida, ven para acá. Frida. Nada más ha sido 1 minuto, pendeja. Nos falta como 25. Ven para acá. Tú te quedas acá. Pendeja. Oh, Nachos y Flurry tienen que hacer. Oye, está haciendo brujería. Flurry está haciendo brujería en mi chat. Está haciendo brujería en mi chat. ¿Cómo le va, mi gente? Mes, pendejo, ¿qué acabas de decirme? Oye, ¿qué acabas de decir? Oh my god. ¿Sabes qué? Voy a agarrar la cuchara de madera y te lo voy a tirar a ti. Olvida el chanclazo. Voy a directamente a algo que no es plástico. ¡Wow! ¡Qué pendejo! ¡Qué pendejo! Por eso Streamlabs no te cae bien. Ahí ya ves, todo eso es karma. Para que vean. Cero, bienvenido a nuestra cuenta. Ni siquiera puedes escribir tú en inglés. Ahí ya ves, es tu culpa. No es mi culpa, es tuya. Eso es karma. Las personas entrando en TikTok chat preguntando qué mierda está. ¿Por qué está hablando el español? Yo aquí hablando el español con ustedes. Me falta 1 minuto más, pero está bien. Vamos a seguir dándole. Frida no quiere estar con ustedes, pendejos. Voy a salvar el próximo. Me hicieron 2 veces, creo. 1, 2. Nos faltan. Hizo 3 minutos nada más. Nos falta como 17 minutos. Creo que está un poco distraída. Solo voy a cuando regrese lo voy a volver a poner. What do you mean by PEMDAS? What do you mean by PEMDAS? Is this in math? If I wanted math, I'd be in finance. You don't know what PEMDAS is? Parentheses? No! Oh my god. Nachos! I need a visual. Let me show you. Who says I can't be educational? Thank you for the likes. Lord, open the schools now. PEMDAS. Not just, what do you mean you don't know what that is? Well, I do know math looks different for you guys than what it did when we were. It's the order of operations. PEMDAS becoming the first, as in whatever's in parentheses in the equation, you do first. E is exponents, so whatever's to whatever power is next. M and D are next, so multiplication or division, pending from left to right. And then the AS part is addition and subtraction from left to right. So, like, is there an example here? Ah, okay. So if you have 9 minus 2 times 3, which are in parentheses, times 4 to the 5th power, what you're doing is you're doing the parentheses first. Then you do to the 2nd power next. Then from left to right, you do multiplication. Right? Yeah, you do multiplication. And then from left to right, you do, because there's no division, you do subtraction and addition, or addition and subtraction. But because subtraction is first, you subtract 9 minus that. And then you do the leftover of the addition. Well, I wasn't taught PEMDAS. Why weren't you guys taught? Why weren't you? What? When did that stop? Is it when you guys started doing that fancy math? Which I still like it makes sense at times when I see people do it, but at the same time I'm like, why did we overcomplicate it? Common Core. Because cools our ass. That's valid. I'm not even gonna fight you. That should have been in middle school. Not even. I learned it in elementary. Am I the only one that learned it in elementary? All right, my people. Okay. We're going to go ahead and do something, but I asked a question when I sent the alert on Discord. Do you guys know what the demon cat is? I was trying to cover our 0.5 GPAs with that, but thanks, Alex. You're welcome. My teacher hated me in elementary. Wow, okay. Do we need to unpack that? Demon cat? No, yeah. Like Flutie, please spell it out. Demon cat. Do you guys know what a demon cat is? I learned this yesterday. I was like, what? No way. I was reading a book. It was like, I'm doing like a spiritual communications reading right now. And it was doing examples of, close, Flutie. I was doing I'm going to explain it now, but, I was doing my readings, and I was in the segment that talks about animals and tries to basically, do examples of correlations of animals, blah, 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 blah. It is important to note that cats have had a really bad reputation throughout time and history, in the sense of people have always put them in some sort of negative line, especially black cats. I mean, that's why they're the least adopted animals sometimes. Same thing with black dogs, actually, which are, it's depressing, except in Egypt and certain other cultures. But I was reading upon that, and it started giving me like examples of certain things throughout history that correlate animals and spirit. And they talked about the demon cat. And for those that do not know what the demon cat is a cat that appears, a spirit cat that appears in the White House. Now, the spirit cat specifically is only known to appear when tragedy is set to happen. Now, the well-known apparitions that were kind of like warning signs for people were before the Great Depression, the tabby cat appear. I'll get to that, not just. And and two, when Kennedy passed. Those are the only two times that were like real remnant of when that cat appears, and it often appears in the basement. Nachos, it's funny you say that, because I had messaged a friend of mine right after I read what I was reading. I was like, yo, and I told him all this information, and I'm gonna go ahead and play a video about it. But they were like, oh, there's no way Orange isn't watching it or hasn't seen it. Actually, in addition to that, if you guys know, the White House has history of ghosts roaming around it. Obviously, it's a historical building with a lot of things that have happened in history. So a lot of them are just going to repeat the cycles in it. With a lot of the renovations for the ballroom shit that's happening, there's going to be a ton. And I mean a fucking ton of spirits that are going to be not very happy right now. And I'm having a hard time believing that he hasn't at least seen something. Considering there's also been signs of sundowning happening. I'll leave it as that. Yeah. It reminds me heavily of like the later stage of my grandparents in their life. Maybe some of you guys had some peaceful situations, but some other folks had some rough times. And so anger, frustration, and really irrational little cognitive things started happening. So yeah. But today we're going to learn about the demon cat. I'll go ahead and play a video about it so you guys can see it. And then we can dabble a little bit on the ghost of the White House and the ghost of America. Because I thought that would be interesting since I'm learning about spiritual communication stuff. It's a fresh reminder of my own practice. Let's see. This one seems interesting. I hope everybody's doing... I hope everyone's doing well. If you're not doing well, tell me. I will beat some ass. Welcome, Carlene. Not yours, though. Let's see. Does this sound good?
Washington Demon Cat.
Okay, the editing is interesting, but we'll go ahead and do that. As a reminder, we are live in 3 platforms. So before I go into this and yap with you guys, you can find me on the Red app, the Purple app, and the Clock app. You can click the link in my bio, description below, and or look me up, alxg.co or alxgco, everywhere. Don't hesitate to stop and say hi. Top of the hour ads over on the Purple app for 3 minutes long. And yeah, thank you guys. I'll always pause everything to make sure nobody misses anything, or as much as I can pause it. And then yeah, thank you for those that subscribe. As a reminder, my stream and the way that I hang out with you guys is all sponsored by the viewer. So if you're watching ads or subscribing to my channel, or even just supporting in free ways like watching all my videos, reposting them, and all these things, those are awesome ways of supporting. And just know that anything I ever get is always going back into the stream so I can hang out with you guys for a little longer. Thank you all so much for being here. Remember, do not hesitate to stop and say hello in the Discord community. You're welcome to always join. And there is a new channel over on Discord for all things spooky. So if you guys ever want to watch some things that are spooky on spooky days, you can go ahead and send that over there. Why? Because that at least helps some people that may not like all the spooky things to mute that channel, just in case. Anyway, let's get to it. Eating leftover chicken Alfredo pizza. Whoa. Wow. We eating what now? Who's eating ass? Why are you guys eating ass? You don't even invite me anymore? Wow. Some fucked up shit, I'd say. Welcome, soul. I'm reading Purple App chat and it's just comment shit, you know? But then, like, I realized that there's just gonna be random folks that join in here and there. And then just hear me with the wildest commentary. Look, it's not my fault I'm this way, okay? This is just how I fucking was born. This is who I am. We outside, that's right. Welcome, Daniel. Unless it's that... Don't even get me started. Did you guys see the post I posted? Did you guys see what I posted? There's updates as of May 6th. The French have their first case of the hantavirus that was airborne from somebody that was in the same fucking airplane of somebody that was in the cruise. We'll just leave it as that. Life is crazy. As if we didn't just live from one pandemic. As if the last one still hasn't even left, because it's still here. People are still getting sick. But nobody ever wants to listen to the disabled community now, do we? This pandemic time, I'm gonna become TikTok famous. Yeah, exactly. I need to go practice my whipped cream coffee. We're all just gonna live on nostalgia, apparently.
DC, the Washington Demon Cat.
Let's go. Okay, over dramatization. I love it.
Something the government has been absolutely mum on for the last few hundred years is a demon living in the...
Mess, were you essential? Oh my god! Were you essential during the pandemic? Oh my god! I'm so glad you're here with us. That's such a... Oh man. That must have been intense. Especially the first 2 years. I'm essential with the night industry and I worked through it. Still there. Definitely still there. So essential, you got nothing from it. Other than trauma? Fortunately, I can avoid tech public for most part. That is nice. Damn, Mass, you worked at the hospital? That sounds traumatic during the time. Welcome, William. Sam, I didn't qualify for all the extra everyone else was. Damn. I need to redo my nails. I just peeled off all the gel.
Sublevels of the U.S. Capitol building. This demon has spooked security, baffled witnesses, and horrifically enough is an omen of terrible tragedy for America. And there is precious little information about it at all. The demon comes in the form of a black cat. When sighted, the animal appears to be a normal stray, but when it approaches, it's said to have glowing eyes and grows larger to the size of a lion.
Because of course it would be a cat. Also, apparently it's not a black cat, it's a tabby cat. But we'll keep it at that. Come emergency respond like hurricanes evac. I'm so essential. I'm in tech category and first come government emergency services. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Or a bear. Security guards have even been said to have shot at the cat, only to discover that they're shooting at an empty hallway. The demon cat vanishes without a trace. The story of the demon cat, nicknamed DC by Capitol employees, begins shortly after the Capitol building was completed. Washington, D.C. had something of a rat problem, and cats were brought into the building to get rid of them. As the rat problem was eventually taken care of, the cats either wandered off or were adopted by people who work there, but apparently, one remained. DC has been seen periodically throughout the last 200 years. Reportedly, he's been spotted before the assassination of Lincoln and Garfield, before the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the death of President Roosevelt, the assassination of Kennedy, the attempted assassination of Reagan, and there's even one account of the cat being spotted the night of September 10th, 2001. Whether real or the result of years of tall tales, we can't say. But if you ever find yourself in the Capitol Rotunda during a tour, take a look at the floor near the old entrance to the Senate Hall. One thing that you cannot deny is the set of cat prints across the stone floor. Said
whose cat is haunting the damn space?
To be made by the U.S. Capitol's demon cat.
So that's the demon cat. The more you know. My guess is just someone's guilty conscience. But, you know, it really could be just the spirit of a cat giving everybody a warning. Could have also been something completely different. I have this, imagery in my head that whatever is currently happening to us politically, spirit realm has to be going fucking crazy in that particular sector. But maybe that's just me. Hold on.
The current White House was built in 1792 and has a rich and spirited history. Yet of all the many prominent men that have passed through the doors, there is one particular president that never seemed to have left, President Abraham Lincoln. In the years following his death, preceding presidents and their staff often reported hearing footsteps and seeing Lincoln's apparition in the hallways.
It really does blow my mind that Lincoln specifically is known as the main one that constantly pops up in the White House, but I'm trying to figure out specifically why. Is it because he's restless because of how he passed away and he feels like he never completed the job? Like in the book that I have, I should have brought it because then I could have read it. In the book that I have, it explains the different types of spirits, but then it also explains the causes of why they may still be roaming around. One of them in particular is the unfinished business kind of thing, or they weren't ready to leave yet. That often those that are our loved ones will still roam around us if we want to make sure that things are settled and done correctly, or like finish, or like, you know, a little bit more healing is happening. Incense and stuff like that. But then it also dabbles into the idea of like, if it's something tragic, sometimes the spirit itself will stick around into the environment and repeat some sort of cycle, or if they just didn't know that that was just gonna happen, like not a tragedy, but more like it was abrupt, like out of nowhere. An example of that would be like the Stanley Hotel, one of the maids who passed away during a explosion, and it was a gas leak, an explosion. She passed away walking into the room that Stephen King was staying in. Actually, that's the room where she basically roams around. She's constantly seen doing the same rotation of her regular workday when she appears. So in my head, it's more about like, it was so abrupt. The death was so abrupt that she wasn't prepared for it. So in spirit realm, it feels like she's just repeating a cycle of like, what is expected for her to do X, Y, and Z. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just a yapper and I don't know shit. You know what I mean? Sorry, hold on.
Following are eyewitness accounts of people who encountered the ghost of Abraham Lincoln.
Damn, okay. Thank you. Do you have a full-on intro? Okay.
Theodore Roosevelt. President Theodore Roosevelt moved into the White House nearly 40 years after Lincoln's death and claims that he saw Abraham Lincoln in various rooms and halls. Grace Coolidge. Grace Coolidge, the wife of President Calvin Coolidge, encountered Lincoln in the Yellow Oval Room dressed in black with a stole draped over his shoulders. She said that she was shocked to see Lincoln staring out of the window in the direction of the Potomac, his hands behind his back. Lincoln then turned and looked in her direction and then just vanished. When Lincoln resided at the White House, the Yellow Oval Room had been his library, where he would regularly stand at the window looking out whilst deep in thought, no doubt ruminating about the Civil War. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. President Roosevelt claims that Lincoln was very active, possibly due to the fact that the country was going through the Great Depression and then preceded by World War II.
He fucking hated you, that's why he was very active. Which makes me believe Lincoln right now is hella active.
Eleanor Roosevelt claims to have regularly heard footsteps in the second floor hallways. One of her staff members, Mary Eben, stated that one day she was passing by Lincoln's bedroom and noticed a tall, thin man sitting on the edge of the bed, pulling on a pair of boots, and then realised she was staring at Abraham Lincoln. She ran screaming back to her office. On another occasion, the president's valet once ran out of the building screaming that he'd just seen Abraham Lincoln. Queen Wilhelmina. Queen Wilhelmina of the Netherlands spent a night in the White House whilst in exile from the Nazis. While she was sleeping in the Rose Room, she heard a constant tapping on the door. As it was late, she assumed the knock was important and quickly opened the door. To her utter astonishment, standing in the doorway was Abraham Lincoln. After seeing the apparition, she blacked out and later woke up on the floor. Winston Churchill. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, when visiting the White House, always stayed in the Lincoln bedroom. But on one particular morning, he was found sleeping in the room across the hall. He later...
Genuine question, do people still stay at the White House considering how chaotic it feels like in there? Like, is it still courtesy to stay at the White House? Or are people declining?
Admitted that he never felt comfortable sleeping in the Lincoln bedroom and refused to discuss what it was that had frightened him during the night. Harry S. Truman. President Truman admitted that the White House was haunted and recalled a terrifying incident that had taken place very early one morning, a few months after taking office. One night he was awoken by something knocking on his bedroom door. He then went to the door and opened it, but there was nobody at the door or in the hallway. All of a sudden, the air around him became icy cold, but then slowly faded as he heard footsteps walking away from him down the corridor. Truman's wife Bess would not stay at the White House, but chose to live at their family home in Missouri. She claimed that whenever she stayed at the White House, she would just sit and listen to the ghosts walking up and down the hallway. At 4 o'clock in the morning, she was awoken by 3 distinct knocks on the bedroom door. She opened the door, but nobody was there. She said, "Damn place is haunting, sure as shooting."
I think they get sent back home, but have the security team watch them. They really don't stay at the White House anymore? I mean, I wouldn't, but I don't think I would. For many a reason. But yeah.
Dwight D. Eisenhower. President Eisenhower was also happy to admit that he'd met Lincoln's ghost. He told his press secretary, James Haggerty, that he frequently sensed Lincoln's ghost in the White House. One day, he was walking down a hallway, and the ghost of Abraham
I ain't
Lincoln
leaving with no damn.
approached him from the opposite direction. Eisenhower claimed that he took the encounter in his stride. Haggerty mentioned the president's ghostly encounter on a network television program, even though there was a strict White House policy of not mentioning ghosts. Jacqueline Kennedy. President John Kennedy took office and occupied the White House exactly 100 years after the Lincolns lived there. After Jacqueline Kennedy undertook a major renovation, it appeared...
I mean, when you destroy 250 years of history because you want a ballroom, I'm pretty sure they got haunted. No, yeah, 1000%. I don't want to say I'm willing to bet because I feel like it has to be fact. There's no way Lincoln, if these are the many people that have been in the White House that have openly talked about seeing Lincoln's ghost, there's no fucking way. There is literally no fucking way, in my most honest opinion, that Lincoln hasn't appeared in front of him already, that he hasn't panicked quite a couple times. And honestly, if Lincoln didn't want to appear in his first term, I completely understand, but there's just no way Lincoln hasn't appeared, at least on the second term, especially after the demolition of the White House, certain sectors, to build the fuck ass ballroom.
Is that Lincoln's ghost began to stir again and was possibly unsettled by the massive alterations in the house, as can happen in many cases of renovating old buildings. After the major refurbishment, Jackie began to regularly encounter Lincoln's ghost. Susan Ford. When President Gerald Ford was in office, his daughter Susan stated that she would never sleep in that room, being Lincoln's bedroom. Susan did believe in ghosts, and her belief was rewarded when she actually witnessed Lincoln's ghost. Ronald Reagan. President Reagan mentioned Lincoln's ghost in a 1987 press conference where he told reporters that he was never frightened by the spirit. Reagan said when walking down the hallway, our little dog Rex would suddenly stop and stare as though he's seeing something. On other occasions, Rex would bark repeatedly as he stopped in front of the Lincoln bedroom. Reagan said that if he opened the door to get the dog to come inside, Rex would growl.
I don't think he wants to help, and I don't think that's why he would have appeared. I think he would appear because he's probably pissed.
Fiercely and refused to come inside. Clinton's aide. In President Clinton's administration, one of his aides claimed to have seen the ghostly spectre of Lincoln walking down a hallway.
Also, I have to say it's kind of crazy that it's prominently just Lincoln right now. Like, it's no other ghost other than just Lincoln. Hold on.
It's probably the most famous house in the world. Famous for the statesmen and women.
Regan can't be a ghost. He handcuffed in the devil's bed getting... That's valid, though. The others are looking for the One Piece. Oh, my God.
Who have visited and lived here.
Their energy's kind of embedded in the environment.
And famous for its former residents who continue to occupy it.
I only ever hear about Lincoln's spirit, but I never talk. Like, I don't think I've ever heard of anybody else talk about any other ghost.
American White House is probably the most haunted house in the United States.
They're not done. They've got more to say, or they refuse to move on.
Presidents, their children, and distinguished guests have all witnessed extraordinary happenings in the executive mansion over the years.
Dog would not go into that bedroom for hell or high water.
I may come back to this White House time and again, but I am never, ever staying in this bedroom.
And it appears that one of America's most popular leaders just...
Mess! That's messy. That's messy. That's messy, bro. That's messy. Because a lot of the reasons that might be even happening is because it might be involved with a particular government entity that a lot of people are not happy with right now. There's not ours specifically. That is technically a foreign entity. I'll leave it as that.
Keeps coming back.
Every time America
Free Palestine.
seems to be in trouble, Lincoln's ghost shows up.
Maybe it's a self-made purgatory.
Could the White House actually be haunted? The very question belongs in the realm of the unexplained.
Well, I hope my dad's ghost lives down there.
The White House is haunted. No question about it.
Damn, the song was hard. I was gonna say they probably trapped his ghost somewhere because they were scared that he would go up and down and snitch. That's, he would have, because he was trying to. He would try, because he, I don't know, I wonder if people are trying to talk to him. Got my bat ready. Any bat?
1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the address of America's
What are you
most famous restaurant.
Nachos! 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 That's messy! That's messy, Nachos! Nachos! Mess, what have you started? Oh my god.
The current White House was built
Why
in
did it
1792.
skip?
It
No!
has a rich and spirited history.
What? No, I went backwards. What just happened?
The door-
Get away from this. No, I was in the new one, bro. I was in the new one. Do not restart this shit for me.
The American White
Be haunted? Home where almost 45 presidents of the United States have lived.
There very well could be a presence in the White House of all those people that served before.
Oh, this is Regan's kid? That's Regan's son.
One of a kind.
You get such a sense of history when you're in the White House. You look at
Or it
the
looks like George
library
Washington.
full of 2,500 volumes of very old, very meticulously restored books. You then see the paintings of all the presidents hanging on the wall.
History.
Think of all the traumas, tribulations that these presidents had, from the Revolutionary War to the Civil War to Vietnam, Korean War, World War I, World War II. That draws a lot of energy into the building, and people that put out a lot of energy sometimes have a very good chance of coming back as a ghost because their energy is kind of embedded in the environment.
And this paranormal presence in the home of presidents appears to take many forms.
Andrew Jackson, Lincoln, Washington, they abound.
A lot of first ladies, a lot of former presidents at least saw somebody in the White House.
Jefferson's here. His violin could be heard playing.
Lady Bird Johnson, the wife of President Lyndon Johnson, also said she felt the chill of the rush of cold air, and there she felt the presence of Abraham Lincoln.
When Roosevelt died, his dog Fela perks up from the couch and starts running, looking in the air, trying to paw Roosevelt's spirit. The Obamas said they would hear strange sounds on the second floor.
There's too many people. The White House is haunted. There's no question about it.
Could it be possible? Could the presidents of the United States still visit their old residence?
I wonder if they all gathered to have a meeting about what the fuck is happening right now. You ever just look at it, like, even the worst of the worst are probably like, yeah, no, this shit is pathetic. Like, how is this happening? Look at the last picture. This guy's asleep while everybody else is taking this picture. How is this happening?
It doesn't surprise me that there would be ghosts in the White House, you know, looking over their homes, making sure the next gal gets it right.
If you imagine you're the president of a country and you have to make everything perfect in the way you want it to be, you're never going to accomplish that. It's never going to happen. So, as they pass, it makes sense that they would return with that unfinished business.
Maybe it's a self-made purgatory.
And if you were to believe Thomas Edison's theory on the concept of a ghost, it could explain why these powerful figures still linger in the White House.
The concept of ghosts is this, and this is what Thomas Edison said. Human consciousness is made up of what he called life units. Life units are discorporate. They're in a body, they're out of a body, but according to quantum physics, they would stay together. They are quantumly entangled. So the spirit of a recently departed person,
Do you think he's probably scared of Lincoln right now? Maybe.
or a person who's very important who had
Is he conscious enough to even know what the fuck he's feeling?
a major mission to accomplish, those life units will stay together. That's what Thomas Edison wrote in his journal. The presidents, just like other world leaders, were very important people in their times. And if they had a mission to fulfill, they will come back again and again and again to remind people of that mission.
Residents and guests of the White House have long reported supernatural sightings of those who came before them.
I can't believe he destroyed the fucking White House.
Back to the very inception of the White House in the late 1700s.
Damn.
If you're going to go all the way back to the beginning, you've got to go back to David Burns. And David Burns actually owned the land that the White House sits on now. They would hear him and he would say, "I am Mr. Burns. I gave this land so that you can have this glorious house. Don't forget me. I am Mr. Burns."
And the first residents of the White House haven't gone anywhere either.
The very first person to live in the White House was John Adams and his wife Abigail Adams.
It's been reported that the spirit of Abigail Adams is indeed very active inside the White House.
Abigail has been seen going about her business.
She's definitely getting haunted right now. Yeah, 1000%. There's no way. I don't see it not being possible. Does she even? Well, no, actually, my friend brought this up to me and I was just like, yeah, you're probably right. They're like, why do you think they're always in Florida? They probably can't live there because they're fucking freaked out by it. There's no way they're not constantly being nagged by something. And I was like, yeah. And nagged is not the right word. I'm using that word, but it's not the right explanation. But when he was when they were like, yeah, like I'm just going to Florida for a doctor, or like basically giving all these excuses about why he's constantly in Florida. And like, you really think about it, and then you think about how many fucking ghosts are in the White House. Is it really just that he wants to be in Florida, or is he's just escaping whatever is in there? Just like, apart from the fact that there's a whole big ass hole in the back. How long is it going to take for that ballroom to be built anyway? There goes my tax money. What's up, Big F? Big F with the 13.
As she did back 1802.
They see Abigail Adams coming down the stairway with her hands around the wash, getting ready to hang out the wash in the East Room to dry.
Then followed by a scent of what smells like soap or damp clothes.
Abigail isn't the only First Lady whose spirit seems to live on in the White House.
The next First Lady that does haunt, and she's a little bit more of a spitfire herself, is Dolly Madison. Dolly is responsible for the roses, that beautiful rose garden outside. She planted all of that, she groomed them, that is her pride and joy. Anytime someone ever decided to touch that rose garden, Miss Dolly walked herself right up there, and she would make shovels fly across the room. She would take dirt and throw it in the gardener's face.
Even other First Ladies.
Especially by all the Cold War. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Big F with the 17.
Suffered the wrath of Dolly Madison.
Mrs. Wilson, who was the wife of Woodrow Wilson, decided one day that she was going to rearrange and redo the rose garden on the White House lawn. And all of a sudden, there was the image of Dolly Madison. And she looked at Mrs. Wilson and she said, "Don't you disturb my rose garden."
She would cause such a ruckus that they're like, all right, we're going to leave this rose garden exactly where it is. And it is still there as Dolly actually wanted it to be.
Another fiery spirit that still haunts
Don't fuck with her garden, bro.
the White House to this day is the 7th President of the United States.
Andrew Jackson, Old Hickory. He had lost a very contentious presidential election with John Quincy Adams, and he pretty much hated everybody who voted against him. He was very distraught, very angry at people. 4 years later, he ended up becoming president in 1828, but still had that pent-up anger. So when he died, a lot of people believe that he's still angry and
They don't even care that she is in Russian. She's Russian adjacent, probably.
in the White House. In the early 1860s, Mary Todd Lincoln, the wife of Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president, she claimed to have heard somebody stomping around in the Rose Room and cursing and swearing very loudly. She believed that was Andy Jackson. We know from historical documentation that he stayed, his bedchamber was the Rose Room.
He's also in the park across the street, too. He can be heard spewing curses and shouting, stomping around.
He's just not happy.
It's claimed the most prevalent spirit is that of Abraham Lincoln.
Lincoln remaining as a spirit in the White House honestly makes the most sense to me because he had one of the biggest impacts on our country.
Just look what Lincoln went through during the Civil War. All the death, so many hundreds of thousands of people. I think it greatly affected Lincoln to the point that he still comes back prodding what he did, what he could have done. And that's what I think draws him back to the White House.
Could this be true, or could there be another explanation?
When we talk about there being a ghost of Abraham Lincoln in the White House, you best believe it's true. He speaks to all of us.
Damn. Okay.
Perhaps the most logical reason for belief that the White House is haunted is the prevalence of spiritualism in the 1800s. Psychics, clairvoyants, and other connectors with the world of the dead began to become extraordinarily influential.
People actually believed in spirits. They didn't see this as somehow an aberration or craziness. To them, just like to the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans,
Bigger for the 7.
spirits were a part of life. Even presidents like Abraham Lincoln, who himself became a ghost, actually used spirits. After Willie Lincoln died, his youngest son died from typhus, Mary Todd Lincoln wouldn't leave the family quarters. She refused to leave the bedroom. She said, I'm not coming down. It's this awful White House that killed my son. I don't want to be a part of it. He calls his spiritualist, his medium, his clairvoyant, Nettie Coburn, to come into the White House and hold a seance, who invokes the spirit of Willie Lincoln to say to his mother, Mary Todd Lincoln, I'm fine. Everything is fine here. Please, join father.
It actually worked. According to both Mary Todd and old Abe, they would see Willie standing at the foot of their bed. He would often appear in photographs standing next to his father.
And so Lincoln was so impressed by that he began having weekly seances at the White House, inviting his cabinet, inviting friends.
Bro, not fucking Lincoln being an alt kid. You telling me that he was out there just bringing in the spirits? I mean, like, yeah, this is sick. They don't do
The Lincolns' increasing interest in the other world could have introduced them to more than they bargained for.
Mary Todd, ardent spiritualist, and the Red Room kind of became her lair. I would say that what she was doing in the Red Room with those seances, they all start with the best of intentions. And maybe it did bring Willie. It brought her what she wanted. But I don't know what else she opened up.
In 1865, Lincoln had a premonition of his own death.
He had a dream where he woke up in the dream and he heard a chorus of people just sobbing, moaning, and crying in the White House. So he puts on his bedrobe, goes down the stairs, and sees a flag-draped coffin in the East Room. 2 guards on either side, and a throng of people, sobbing, weeping, mournfully crying. He goes up to one of the guards and says, "Who has died in the White House?" The guard says, "The president. He was killed by an assassin's bullet." And then he wakes up.
3 days later, Lincoln was assassinated.
Whoa.
Strange coincidence, or was there something more supernatural at play?
Whoa.
Even on the night Lincoln was shot, at Ford's Theater, he was supposed to be sitting in the same box with General Grant. But General Grant's wife, who was a spiritualist, said, I have a bad feeling about this. In fact, she said, I do not allow you to go sit in the presidential box. We're jumping on a train and we're going back to New York. And sure enough, they went back to New York. Lincoln, who had actually seen his own assassination in a dream, is shot.
Lincoln, it seems, has never left the White House.
There's actually a room in the White House called the Lincoln Room. And that Lincoln Room has been the source of many of the hauntings. Former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, she used that room as a study. And she said on many occasions she just felt that he was around.
Guests of Roosevelt were often visited by Lincoln, Queen Wilhelmina of the Netherlands being just one of them.
In the middle of the night, she hears a knock on her door, rather large rap, wondering who was there in the middle of the night.
You're telling me that basically you had the opportunity to pick any fucking room to stay at in the White House, and the one they put you in is the fucking Lincoln room, knowing that everybody fucking sees Lincoln in there? What is it? Is this how we fucking do foreign politics? Ay caramba. Come back.
Night opens the door to find the entire door frame filled with a man dressed in black, stovepipe hat and all. She said it looked like Abraham Lincoln. It was said that she fainted immediately upon seeing that.
But the funniest story came from Winston Churchill, Prime Minister Winston Churchill. Churchill was staying overnight in the Lincoln bedroom, and he said the smell of cigar smoke suddenly came out of nowhere. Well, he smoked cigars, so it didn't bother him, but he said he saw Lincoln's ghost when he opened the door standing in the corridor. And he said to President Roosevelt the next day, I may come back to this White House time and again, but I am never, ever staying in this bedroom.
Some people thought having the ghost of Lincoln around was invaluable.
Truman specifically really embraced it. He was like, I hope that President Lincoln is here because he would give me some great advice. Other members of staff were like, oh, it's an old house. It's the pipes, it's the walls, it's the wood settling. And he said, okay.
Mess with the one.
Rebuild it. And they did. They actually rebuilt the White House under his presidency, and guess what? It didn't go away.
And Lincoln seemed to show a particular fondness for one presidential family. The 16th president appears to roam the corridors of the executive mansion to this day. The Reagans were witnesses to his spirit.
Oh, I think there's ghosts in the White House. I think there are ghosts, and I think my dad probably believed there are ghosts also.
Ronald Reagan's daughter, Maureen Reagan, she was staying in the Lincoln bedroom. She said, I woke up one night, I smelled cigar smoke, I opened the door, there was a guy with a stovepipe hat. I told my dad, I'm never staying in the Lincoln bedroom again.
And she wasn't the only member of the family to feel a presence in the Lincoln bedroom.
Dad and Nancy had a little dog named Rex. That little dog would get out of the family quarters room at night on occasions and go down the hall to the Lincoln's bedroom and be outside the Lincoln bedroom just yapping.
And he's barking, 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 barking. So they'll open the door for him. He's not going in there. He's not going in there. In fact, he shrinks away from it.
And Dad would, a few of those occasions, what he would do is put the, leash on the dog and try to pull the dog into the Lincoln bedroom.
Don't force him.
Dog would never move. Dog would not go into that bedroom for hell or high water.
I think maybe that Rex sensed, dogs are their intuition is incredible. And I think that he sensed the stress and the sadness that does emanate from Lincoln quite often.
It is also said that Lincoln's spirit has appeared when the country is in its greatest time of need, and his is not the only spirit that has done so.
After Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, they said Lincoln would stand at the front door, almost as though he was crying. People said they saw him at the front door. This would be visitors, even people standing outside the gates looking in.
The theory about Lincoln's ghost in the White House is this, that because Lincoln was the president who kept the Union together and who abolished slavery in the United States, because of that, every time America seems to be in trouble, Lincoln's ghost shows up. Same with George Washington. He shows up when the United States is at this inflection point with General McClellan, how to deploy your army to defend the capital. Suddenly Washington's ghost appeared, and he says, Sentry, are you asleep at your post? McClellan was shocked. He knew exactly who it was because of the three-cornered hat, the white jacket, the plumes, and he laid out for McClellan a map of how to deploy his army. The Battle of Gettysburg. Suddenly a figure on a white horse, robed in white, holding a sword, appears before the main volunteers and points in the direction of the town they should go to.
Could it really be possible that these presidents continued to help the country they loved, even in the afterlife?
To think that Lincoln basically was out there just opening portals.
We have in America a reverence for all of our presidents. They are our leaders. They are the people who give us moral guidance. We want ghosts to be there. We need to have ghosts in the White House because we don't want...
Sorry, he said moral guidance and I was like, oh. Still doing that?
To lose those people who have been our leaders, who give us the moral authority.
I don't know if you call it a ghost or just that aura of the people who have been there, and you can feel them. I mean, you walk around the room and you feel the Reagan, you feel the Obamas, you feel the people who spent 8 years there, and the things that they did and the things they accomplished, whether you agree with them or not.
You can't deny that things are going on. You can't deny the feeling you get as you walk into the East Room. You can't deny that smell of lavender as you see the maid, who's not really the maid, walk by you. Those are things that you can't deny, especially because it's happened over and over for centuries.
I believe personally that the White House is haunted. I believe that there are parts of Washington, D.C. that are still haunted. It would be really fun to get President Donald Trump to agree to let some ghost hunters go into the White House, stay in the Lincoln bedroom. That would be his best reality show.
I hate you for fucking saying that. I hate him. Why did I watch this? I hate him. I hate him for saying that. Because he's probably fucking right. Not in that's the best fucking reality TV show that he's gonna have, but in he would actually fucking agree on doing it. Ads are about to start. I apologize. I forgot to announce it. It's about to start. It's about to start. It's about to start. My bad. Ads are starting for 3 minutes, top of the hour ads. I'm going to pause here before we continue. Just wanted to say thank you guys so much for supporting me along the way. Thank you for being here. We are live on 3 platforms. Don't hesitate to go and join. The VODs will be available over on the purple app for temporary amount of time, and the red app for more prominent. Florence, leave my birds alone. For a more prominent amount of time. Please don't hesitate to follow and subscribe to all those things and join the Discord community if you like to. Watching ads is a fun way and a free way of supporting me. You can also subscribe to get all your awesome emotes. And yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here. Enjoy your ads. Let me take a small little break real quick. I'm gonna be right back. Hello, we're back. Not back for Mats, but back for me. I thought about getting a drink, but I guess maybe I'm fine. Hope everybody's doing well. About a minute or so left of ads. We're gonna be able to... Damn, now I want to go get that drink. Should I go get that drink? Shit. Okay, I'll be right back. Hello, we're back. Cheers. Okay. Maybe this one? Okay. I think we're back. Hello, welcome back. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Pause here.
In rural Louisiana, the voices of a dark time in American history live on. In an 18th century house, part of the historic Myrtles plantation, strange things happen.
People very often say the dolls move in that room. I heard a blood-curdling scream.
Numerous people have been visited by spirits, and some can even prove it.
Heavy boots.
It's a plantation. Of course there's spirits roaming around. It's not even shocking. There's tragedy.
"15 haunted celebrity mansions Hollywood tried to hide. What if Hollywood's most glamorous mansions were hiding chilling secrets? Behind gated estates lie alleged hauntings so disturbing, publicists have spent millions to silence them. Tonight, we reveal 15 celebrity homes where paranormal horror...
Do you guys want to know something cool? Not really cool. I'm just a nerd.
Tonight, we reveal 15 celebrity...
Do you see that car? Do you see this car? Do you see it? I want this car. I want this car so bad. I want a car from the 80s to the 90s that feels very squarey. I just want it. I just want something old. I want something old. I want something old with an electric battery.
Think A-listers fleeing dream homes, exorcisms failing, and homes changing hands due to ghostly torment. From phantom calls to bloodstains and eerie voices caught on tape, these
cool.
are the industry's darkest whispers. Some stars reportedly took these secrets to their graves. With non-disclosure agreements and hushed agents, the cycle continues. Welcome to Hollywood's haunted underbelly, where fame may come with a terrifying price. Number 15, the Ozzy Osbourne Mansion, where rock meets the supernatural. When Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne bought their Beverly
Wait, the Osbournes had a haunted house?
Hills mansion in the 1980s, they thought they were getting the ultimate.
Is this the same house that was in the fucking reality TV show?
Rock star paradise. What they discovered instead, according to Sharon's own accounts, was a supernatural nightmare that made even the Prince of Darkness himself flee in terror. The mansion, built in the 1940s, had been the site of multiple unexplained deaths over the decades, but the Osbournes didn't learn about this history until after they'd moved in and started experiencing phenomena that defied explanation. Sharon was the first to encounter the ghostly presence, as she has publicly
That the house wasn't haunted? Was it?
Described. She reported seeing a young woman in 1940s, clothing walking through their bedroom wall repeatedly, always carrying what appeared to be a pearl necklace. The woman would pause at Sharon's bed, stare at her with hollow eyes, then continue through the opposite wall. But the truly terrifying encounters began when filming started for the Osbournes reality show. Cameras would malfunction in specific rooms, recording equipment would shut down on its own, and crew members...
I just binge all the Aussie stuff and nothing has ever mentioned. Let me see. Oh. Yeah, it wasn't shown on the TV, but it was definitely widely known to be haunted. Um, Ozzy Osbourne traumatized by hauntings in Beverly Hills home filled with evil. Black Sabbath. Frontman Ozzy Osbourne says that has been left traumatized by a terrifying ghostly presence in his home. He reckons that he's a shadowy apparition in the corner of the bedroom, but wife Sharon's less convinced. I know they bought a house that was an insane asylum. What happened? You know what's funny? Even if it wasn't haunted and they actually became haunted, that also wouldn't be a shocking thing for me. Is the Prince of Darkness. Have you seen half the things he owns?
Members reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread in certain areas of the house. The breaking point came during a dinner party when multiple guests witnessed plates flying off the table and shattering against walls with no one near them. Sharon later revealed that she'd been hiding similar incidents for months, afraid that publicizing them would affect the show's success. What made the story even more disturbing was the discovery that 3 previous owners had died under mysterious circumstances. One an apparent suicide, one from unexplained causes in his sleep, and one from what police described as an accidental fall downstairs that many questioned. Number 14, Judy Garland's final home, the haunted hideaway in Chelsea. Judy Garland.
Oh my God, Judy Garland's spirit in general is known for haunting things too. Too soon to be talking about Ozzy. No, that's true. But I mean, it's in the spirit of the paranormal. If I wanted to right now, bitch, I started fucking. I'm sure Ozzy would be chill and step up and say some shit. Ozzy was always down for the. Ozzy was always cool, bro.
Chelsea district became the epicenter of supernatural activity after her tragic death from an accidental overdose in 1969. What tourists don't know is that the house has allegedly been quietly changing hands every few years because no one can bear to live there long term. The first signs of paranormal activity were reported by Garland's friend Mickey Deans, who found her body. In the weeks following her death, he described hearing her voice singing "Over the Rainbow" in the middle of the night, coming from the bathroom where she died. Subsequent owners reported far more disturbing encounters. One family claimed to find every mirror in the house covered with condensation that formed the words "No place like home," regardless of the weather.
Oh my God.
The executive who owned the house in the 1980s allegedly hired a team of paranormal investigators after experiencing what he described as the most terrifying 3 months of my life. The investigators captured audio recordings of what appeared to be Garland's voice, but not singing. Instead,
hot take. I think because I can understand how it could be considered one like a completely terrifying to see things happen around you that cannot necessarily be explained. But let's say over time you get comfortable with the idea of things moving around. Is it possible for at one point for us to realize that maybe it's just Judy reliving her life in her own home that's hers? And it doesn't need to be scary because it's not like she's hurting you. She's just literally singing over the rainbow.
She seemed to be crying and calling out for her children. The most chilling incident reportedly occurred when a television producer lived there briefly in the 1990s. She claimed that every electronic device in the house would turn on at exactly 12:17 a.m., the time police estimated Garland had died. The devices would all tune to musical programs, creating a cacophony of overlapping songs throughout the house. Number 13, the Fatty Arbuckle Estate, where scandal meets supernatural terror. Roscoe Fatty, Arbuckle's former estate in the Hollywood Hills, carries the weight of both scandal and supernatural horror. After the comedian's career was destroyed by allegations of and murder in 1921, charges that were later dismissed, the mansion allegedly became a magnet for paranormal activity that has haunted every subsequent owner. The modern celebrity owners of the estate, who purchased it through a shell corporation to hide their identity, have reportedly experienced phenomena that their publicists work overtime to suppress. Sources claim the family has described incidents involving phantom parties, sounds of 1920s music, laughter, and clinking glasses that occur in the middle of the night. Multiple housekeepers have supposedly quit after reporting encounters with a heavy-set man in 1920s clothing who appears in mirrors and vintage photographs around the house. Some staff members have described feeling physically pushed by an invisible force, particularly near the room where Arbuckle allegedly held the party that led to Virginia Rapp's death. The mansion's current owners have invested heavily in security systems, but the technology seems to work against them. Motion sensors trigger alarms when no one is present. Security cameras capture orbs of light moving through rooms, and recording equipment picks up voices speaking in 1920s slang. Perhaps most disturbing is what happened during a charity fundraiser held at the mansion. Multiple guests reported seeing a woman in a white dress.
If anyone deserves to haunt, is Marilyn Monroe. I have a theory about Marilyn. Hold on.
Collapsed in the library, but when they approached to help, she would vanish. Number 12, Lucille Ball's Hidden Horror, the dark secret of the Lucy estate. Behind the laughter and love that made Lucille Ball...
You see the 1965 Tesla swap. Did you see my message on Discord, Big F? About the Chinese EVs? We can talk about that after. But no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Secret that, according to rumors, the
you see it?
Has fought for decades.
I'll talk about it in a second after.
Former estate in Beverly Hills allegedly harbors ghostly encounters that would have terrified even Lucy herself. After Ball's death in 1989, the mansion was quickly sold to a prominent music industry executive who planned to renovate it as his dream home. The renovation never happened. Within 6 months, the new owner had fled, leaving behind a house full of furniture and a story he was legally bound never to tell. Sources close to the family
what?
The executive experienced what he described as Lucy's presence, trying to communicate with him. Not the comedic Lucy Millions loved, but a desperate, anxious spirit that seemed to be warning him about something in the house. The paranormal investigators brought in to examine the property supposedly discovered that the activity centered around Lucy's former dressing room, which had been converted into a study. EMF readings spiked dramatically in this area, and sensitive equipment picked up what sounded like a woman's voice repeating the same phrase, "Don't let them find it." The most documented incident allegedly occurred when the owner...
Why is he using so many AI photos? You could have used stock free photos. These are so bad. Yeah. What does she mean by don't let them find it?
Teenage daughter brought friends to the house for a party. Multiple witnesses reported seeing Lucy appear in the living room, not as the elderly woman she'd been at death, but as young Lucy from the height of her career. She gestured frantically toward a specific wall before vanishing. Investigation of that wall supposedly revealed a hidden compartment containing documents that reportedly exposed secrets about Lucy's career and personal life that could have damaged her legacy. The family quickly retrieved these materials, and the paranormal activity immediately ceased. Number 11, the Marilyn Monroe penthouse. Beauty, death, and eternal unrest. Marilyn Monroe's final residence wasn't her Brentwood house where she died, but a secret penthouse she allegedly maintained in Manhattan's Upper East Side. This hidden retreat has become the center of supernatural phenomena so intense that it's changed hands 6 times in the past decade, with each owner signing increasingly strict non-disclosure agreements. The penthouse was supposedly purchased by Monroe under an assumed name just months before her death.
I mean, are you shocked? Also around her gravesite technically is haunted, and I think where there's a hotel in Hollywood that has apparitions of her that come in and out.
Intending it as a refuge where she could escape Hollywood's pressures. After her death, it was quietly sold to a series of entertainment industry figures who discovered they had bought more than just prime Manhattan real estate. The first documented paranormal activity allegedly occurred in the 1970s when a film studio executive and his wife moved in. They reported...
Bro, she's so beautiful.
finding Monroe's signature red lipstick writing on their bathroom mirror. Not words, but her name signed in the same style she used for autographs. More disturbing were reports of Monroe's voice coming through the building's intercom system at all hours. Residents of other apartments complained to building management about hearing a woman crying and calling out, "Please help me," through the vents, but investigations found no source for the sounds. One owner, a television producer, reportedly documented his experiences before being forced to stop by legal threats. He described Monroe appearing in her famous white dress from the 7-year...
I'm trying to figure out why it's so not okay to talk about the ghost. Like, what if there's a ghost of the particular person? Why is it so illegal?
Standing by the penthouse's large windows and looking out over the city with an expression of profound sadness. The pattern of rapid ownership changes became even more pronounced after a tech mogul bought the property in 2018. Within 3 months, he had moved out, telling friends privately that he'd experienced impossible things that made him question his sanity. Building employees, speaking anonymously, describe elevators that stop at Monroe's floor when no one has pressed the button, and the persistent scent of her signature perfume, Chanel No. 5, wafting through hallways despite no one wearing it. Most chilling is the reported connection between the penthouse activity and Monroe's conspiracy.
This curve of Everland. Do you think her spirit will talk about it? Okay, I still have a theory. Wait until this finishes.
Several owners have claimed that when the paranormal activity reaches its peak, they experience overwhelming urges to investigate certain aspects of Monroe's death, as if her spirit is trying to communicate something important.
Okay. It's being brought up
about what really happened to her. The current owner, whose identity is heavily protected by legal agreements, has reportedly hired a team of paranormal specialists who work exclusively with high-profile clients. Despite their efforts, the activity continues, and real estate insiders whisper that the property will soon be on the market once again. Number 10, Elvis Presley's secret California retreat, the King's hidden haunting. While Graceland gets all the attention for Elvis-related paranormal activity, the King's secret retreat in the Hollywood Hills allegedly harbors supernatural phenomena that would shock even his most devoted fans. This property, purchased under a shell corporation and never publicly linked to Elvis, became his refuge during his most troubled periods, and apparently, his spirit never left. The mansion was discovered by Elvis in 1973, when he was struggling with his failing marriage and increasing drug...
Okay, before I continue, I have a theory about Marilyn specifically. I think because Marilyn is Norman, right? Norma. I think her actual spirit as Norma, the woman that she was, is Norma? I might be fucking up her real name. I think her spirit is actually at rest, but I think her alter ego, which is the spirit of the celebrity that we know to be Marilyn, I think that's who wants the justice to be served. I think it's almost like a split personality thing. And I remember reading about how people see her as two different identities, even in the real world. How there was like an interview with a friend. They would hang out with her as just her regular identity, and she would be like, "Do you want to see me turn into her being Marilyn?" And she would turn and like get into that character, and people will immediately just like swarm her. It's almost like a different identity would come into her, and people would just, the crowds would come and just be, "Oh my god, it's Marilyn Monroe, blah 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 blah." So it's interesting. I think there's like a duality aspect with Marilyn. I find it interesting. I mean, even the death, she was disrespected. Exactly. That's why, like, I think Marilyn as an identity wants that answer, but I think Norma, her actual being, is, if anything, slightly at peace, or has already like transcended to whatever might be next. I don't know if that sounds quirky. That sounds crazy, I know. Because I think in essence, Marilyn still had a lot left to do, but Norma has accepted where she is at. I don't know if all of that makes sense.
Drug dependency. He reportedly told only his closest confidants about the property, using it as a place to decompress away from the public eye. After his death, the property quietly passed through a series of entertainment industry hands, each owner experiencing phenomena that defied explanation. The first celebrity to purchase the property, a rock star who achieved fame in the 1980s, described hearing Elvis's voice singing late at night. Not recordings, but live vocals that seemed to come from the air itself, often songs that Elvis had never officially recorded. More unsettling were the reports of Elvis's ghost appearing to visitors who didn't know about his connection to the house. A director who attended a party there in the 1990s described seeing a man in a white jumpsuit standing at the top of the stairs. When he asked his host about the unusual guest, he was told no one matching that description was at the party. The mansion's current owner, a multiple Grammy winner, has allegedly experienced phenomena that suggest Elvis's spirit is aware of current events. Studio equipment in the house's converted recording space reportedly turns on by itself, and monitoring equipment has captured recordings of Elvis's voice, commenting on modern music and current events in his distinctive speaking style. What makes this haunting particularly credible is the involvement of Elvis's former employees. Several of his surviving inner circle have privately confirmed experiencing Elvis's presence at the property, describing it as feeling more like
Hearing ain't nothing but a hound dog at 3 a.m. would be my 13th reason.
him than Graceland does. The property includes a replica.
Can somebody please explain to me what was the sandwich that he used to eat? I know that his eating and drug habits were not the best, but what was the sandwich that he used to eat that had like a shit ton of peanut butter and about 1 million layers in it? Subway Eat Fresh. Not that one. No, definitely not that. Not that one. There was like another one that he used to eat. Whatever it was, clogged him.
Of Elvis's jungle room, and it's in this space that the most intense paranormal activity reportedly occurs. Multiple witnesses have claimed to see Elvis playing piano and singing, appearing solid and real until observers try to approach, at which point he fades away. Recent developments include reports of Elvis's spirit seemingly trying to warn the current owner about health issues, appearing to point at specific parts of the owner's body before vanishing. Given Elvis's own struggles with health and medication, many interpret this as the king.
Bro ate a whole lot of meat. I know, it was like meat and layers of I don't know what the hell else. I'm gonna look this up.
Trying to prevent others from following his tragic path. Number 9. The Sharon Tate house, where horror never ended. While the Cielo Drive house where Sharon Tate was murdered was demolished, few know about her previous residence in Benedict Canyon, where she lived with Roman Polanski before moving to the fatal address. This earlier home has allegedly become a nexus of paranormal activity that the Tate family and Polanski's representatives have fought to keep secret.
They're the ones that passed away from... Are they the Manson murders?
Tate lived in the Benedict Canyon property for barely a year, but those close to her reported that she experienced disturbing supernatural encounters that seemed to foreshadow her tragic fate. She
What?
friends about recurring nightmares and waking visions of intruders in the house, experiences that take on horrifying significance in hindsight. After Tate's murder, the Benedict Canyon house was quickly sold. The new owners, a prominent Hollywood couple, began experiencing phenomena that seemed directly connected to Tate's spirit. They reported seeing a young woman with blonde hair wandering through the house, particularly near the bedroom where Tate had slept. The most chilling incidents involved mirrors in the
According to reports, Elvis Presley's last meal consumed in the early morning hours of August 16, 1977, shortly before his death, considered 4 scoops of ice cream, vanilla and peach, and 6 chocolate chips, chocolate cookies. While often associated with the eating high-calorie fried peanut butter and banana sandwiches, his dessert was his final quiet snack before retiring to bed. As POC, if I moved into any of these places, I'd just call on my ancestors and haunt those houses. Same, but I would first be like, who are you? And then second of all, I'd be like, can you pay rent?
house showing reflections that didn't match reality. Guests would...
And if you cannot pay rent, can you open or help me open the doors to get the money in to pay that rent?
See Tate's image appear beside their own reflection, often looking frightened and trying to mouth warnings that no one could hear. What elevated this from typical ghost story to Hollywood cover-up was the involvement of the Tate family. Sharon's sister, Deborah Tate, reportedly visited the house once and left immediately.
Camera froze? God damn it! Oh, I hate you bitches. I hate you bitches. I hate you. Oh, I know why. I didn't do what I was supposed to before I went live. I was supposed to change the quality setup of my... I was supposed to lower the quality on the clock app. That's on me. That's on me.
Telling the owner she would never set foot in a place where Sharon was still trapped. Multiple paranormal investigations have allegedly been conducted at the property, all under strict confidentiality agreements. Investigators claim to have documented evidence of an intelligent haunting, with Tate's spirit appearing to respond to questions about her life and death. The house passed through several entertainment industry hands, with each owner reporting similar phenomena. A music producer who lived there in the 1990s claimed that recording equipment in his home studio would malfunction specifically when playing or recording beautiful melodies, as if Tate's spirit was drawn to beauty and artistry. Some believe that the current owners have reported that the paranormal activity seems to intensify around the anniversary of Tate's death each August. Neighbors have seen lights moving through the house when it's supposed to be empty, and some report seeing a young woman in 1960s clothing standing in the windows. What makes this haunting...
People say 1960s clothing as if people don't dress like that right now. Listen, I really do believe that the restless are people that are usually repeating the cycles because life was ended so abruptly, or maybe they just left where they were. That was their hum.
Particularly tragic is that witnesses describe Tate's spirit as seeming confused and lost, as if she doesn't understand why she can't move on. Spiritual
because no one's gonna help her.
Advisors who have allegedly worked on the case suggest that the traumatic nature of her death may have created a supernatural tie to places where she experienced happiness. Number 8, the John Belushi connection. Comedy turned to horror. John Belushi's former residence in the Hollywood Hills, where he lived during his Saturday Night Live peak, allegedly harbors supernatural activity that would shock fans who remember him only for his comedy. After Belushi's death from a drug overdose in 1982, the house became a magnet for paranormal phenomena that successive owners have desperately tried to hide. The mansion, purchased by Belushi at the height of his fame, was intended as his sanctuary from the pressures of stardom. Instead, it supposedly became the site of increasingly erratic behavior and paranormal experiences that may have contributed to his tragic downward spiral.
What?
Aykroyd, who visited frequently during the Blues Brothers era, later privately confided to friends about weird vibes in the house. He described feeling watched and hearing laughter coming from empty rooms, often followed by an overwhelming sense of sadness. After Belushi's death, the property was sold to a television executive who allegedly experienced phenomena that forced him to seek help from paranormal specialists. He reported hearing Belushi's distinctive voice and laughter throughout the house, but not the joyful sounds fans would expect. Instead, they seemed desperate and pleading. The most documented incident reportedly occurred during a party hosted by the executive's wife. Multiple guests witnessed what appeared to be Belushi materialize in the living room, performing his famous samurai chef routine, but in slow motion and with an expression of profound sorrow. When guests tried to interact with the apparition, it dissolved into mist. Subsequent owners have reported similar encounters, often describing Belushi's spirit as appearing to reenact moments from his career, but with an overlay of awareness about his fate. One owner...
So Hollywood is just haunted as fuck? I feel like that's the answer I'm getting. Hold on. Let me look at what you sent me on Discord. Oh, an actual Mustang was turned into a Tesla. That is cool. I wonder how much money that was.
A comedy writer claimed that Belushi's ghost tried to warn him about drug use by appearing whenever but being unable to recap. But the activity quickly escalated to
what is that?
Became Hollywood legend, though the actress is number 7. The Poltergeist house, where Hollywood's horror became reality. Prominent actress's Malibu mansion allegedly became the real-life inspiration for supernatural horror after she experienced poltergeist activity so intense that it made the fictional movie Poltergeist seem tame by comparison. The incidents were supposedly so well documented that they became Hollywood legend, though the actress's identity remains protected by non-disclosure agreements. The mansion, built on a bluff overlooking the Pacific, seemed like the...
What are these non-disclosure agreements that are happening? Are these just like... Is this to make sure that the properties are being sold? So it doesn't... I feel like there's a higher market of people that wanting to buy haunted houses. I don't know.
Early 1980s. However, within weeks of moving in, the actress and her family began experiencing phenomena that defied rational explanation. It reportedly started with typical poltergeist activity, objects moving on their own, unexplained sounds, and electrical disturbances. But the activity quickly escalated to include furniture being violently thrown across rooms with no one present, and family members being physically touched by invisible forces. The actress, known for her skeptical nature, initially blamed the incidents on stress and imagination. This changed when her young daughter began speaking to an invisible friend who knew details about the family that no child
What the hell? Okay, I will say, like, although I think part of me would still be freaked out regardless if I see something or stuff that are haunted. Nothing would scare me more than my own child set, like, just talking to a wall.
Before they The breaking point allegedly came during a dinner party when guests witnessed the dining room table rise several inches off the ground and hover there for nearly 30 seconds before crashing down. China and glassware flew across the room as if thrown by an angry child, and several guests reported feeling invisible hands grabbing and pushing them. Paranormal investigators brought in to study the phenomena supposedly documented some of the most compelling evidence of poltergeist activity ever recorded. Video footage showed objects moving with no apparent cause. Audio recordings captured disembodied voices, and electromagnetic readings spiked dramatically in areas where incidents occurred. What made the situation even more disturbing...
I hope in spirit realm I'm not a poltergeist. Unless the person deserves it.
was the discovery that the mansion had been built on a site with a dark history. Research revealed that a family had lived there in the 1920s, losing 3 children to illness over a single winter. The actress and her family eventually bought the mansion, selling it at a significant loss, and signing agreements never to discuss their experiences publicly. However, crew members from the paranormal investigation and household staff have provided details about the extent of the activity. Subsequent owners have not remained in the property for long periods, and real estate records show it has been sold multiple times over the past 4 decades. Word is that the mansion currently sits empty, officially listed as undergoing renovation, but actually abandoned due to ongoing paranormal activity. Number 6, the Corey Haim Nightmare, teen idol's tormented spirit. Corey Haim's North Hollywood apartment, where he spent his final troubled years, has allegedly become a site of supernatural activity so intense.
This guy has such a tragic story though, so it's like I feel really bad for him.
That it's been quietly exorcised 3 times by different spiritual practitioners. The apartment complex's management company has worked overtime to suppress stories about the haunting, fearing it would affect property values and their reputation. Haim, who struggled with addiction and financial problems after his teenage heartthrob days, lived in relative obscurity in the modest apartment complex during his final years. Neighbors reported hearing arguments and erratic behavior coming from his unit, but what they experienced after his death in 2010 was far more disturbing. The first tenant to move into Haim's former apartment reportedly lasted less than a month. They described constant knocking on walls, on and off at random, and an overwhelming sense of anxiety that made sleep impossible. Most unsettling was the sound of someone crying and pleading that seemed to come from inside the walls themselves.
Flutie, you gotta do a roll-off with Mess. If you don't answer within the next couple minutes, I will assign somebody else to roll off with you. Oh! Mess, you gotta roll one more time. All you gotta do is beat a 1. If you match that 1, I swear to God. Okay. Wait. I can't find it now. There we go. Mess finally. No, Mess, qué pendejada, bro. Our ancestors are gonna be. You're so stupid. And my teachers, the one that taught you PEMDAS, and the bottoms. Oh my God, are you and the bottoms? Are you saying that as a gritty top?
Window, looking exactly as he had at the height of his fame. Paranormal activity allegedly extended beyond Haim's apartment to affect the entire complex.
Mess, you gotta roll one more time so she knows what to beat. Mess roll. Y'all don't want me to ever be happy. Mess. Okay, you stay pinned.
Stopping at Haim's floor without being called, hallway lights flickering when no electrical problems could be found, and a persistent smell of teen-oriented...
I'm fucking learning about fucking someone's death right now, and you bitches are just being chaotic in the goddamn comment section. And within just a few seconds, that happened, by the way. What the hell? I'm gonna need to roll one more time, Mess. Couldn't even finish my speech. Okay. Damn. That's some fucked up shit.
appear and disappear without explanation. What made the haunting particularly tragic is that witnesses describe Heim's spirit as appearing young and healthy, as if his ghost was stuck in his teenage heartthrob period. Legend says the management has spent thousands trying to cleanse the property, bringing in spiritual advisors from different religious traditions. While these efforts have reduced the activity, they reportedly haven't eliminated it entirely.
Oh my
Residents
gosh.
speak anonymously about continuing disturbances, particularly around anniversaries of significant events in Heim's life. Number 5, the Whitney Houston estate, where the voice still echoes. Whitney Houston's former estate in Mendham, New Jersey, where she lived during some of her most troubled years, has allegedly
Isn't her estate abandoned?
experienced supernatural phenomena that suggest her powerful voice continues to resonate even after death. The mansion, sold quickly after her death, has become a source of both beautiful and terrifying encounters for its subsequent
Is her house now owned by somebody? I thought her house was abandoned now.
occupants. Houston lived in the mansion during her marriage to Bobby Brown and through her struggles with addiction. The house witnessed both her greatest triumphs and deepest despairs, and many believe this emotional intensity has left a supernatural imprint on the property. The estate's new owners, a pharmaceutical executive and his family, initially dismissed stories about the property's paranormal reputation. This changed within their first month of residence when they began hearing Houston's voice singing throughout the house. Not recordings, but live
Okay, but if I heard I Will Always Love You at 2 a.m., I would cry. No, for real. Like, actually, though. If it's her voice singing? You fucking kidding me? Her spirit is coming through and she's singing? That's what she wants to do right now? Hell yeah, honor it.
vocal performances that seemed to come from the air itself. The phenomena reportedly intensified when the family's teenage
Give her some flowers.
singer moved into the room that had been Houston's recording studio. She claimed that Houston's spirit would appear during her practice sessions, initially seeming to offer guidance and encouragement through gestures and expressions. However, the encounters allegedly became more disturbing when the daughter began experiencing what she described as Houston's spirit trying to possess her during performances. She would find herself singing in Houston's style and range, hitting notes she'd never been able to reach before, but feeling like someone else was controlling her voice. The most well-documented incident supposedly occurred during a charity fundraiser at the estate. Over 50 guests witnessed the house's sound system beginning to play Houston's music without any input from the host. More remarkably, Houston's voice seemed to join in live with her own recordings, creating harmonies that had never existed before. Paranormal investigators brought in to study the phenomena supposedly discovered that electromagnetic activity spiked dramatically in areas where Houston had spent the most time. They recorded numerous EVP sessions where Houston's spirit appeared to respond to questions about her music and her regrets about her life choices. Number 4, the Michael Jackson Hideaway, Neverland's Secret Shadow. While Neverland Ranch gets all the attention, Michael Jackson reportedly maintained a secret retreat in the Hollywood Hills that has become the center of supernatural activity, far more intense than anything reported at his famous estate. This hidden property, purchased under layers of corporate secrecy, served as Jackson's true sanctuary and apparently remains his spiritual refuge. The modern mansion was extensively renovated by Jackson to include recording studios, gaming areas, and private performance spaces where he could create without outside interference. After his death, the property passed quietly to a trust, but not before several people documented extraordinary paranormal experiences.
That's because Flutie owns Streamlabs.
Staff members who worked on the property during Jackson's lifetime report that
That's because Flutie, that's because Flutie owns Streamlabs. That's why she gets a perfect 20 after just 4 rolls.
supernatural activity began even before his death. They described seeing Jackson's reflection in mirrors when he wasn't present, hearing
I do not even use it as a customer. Exactly, bro.
his unmistakable voice practicing
Right, Flutie, right. And we're supposed to believe that.
in empty rooms and experiencing the sensation of being watched by invisible eyes. After Jackson's death, these phenomena allegedly intensified dramatically. The property's security systems began capturing footage of a figure moving through the house that matched Jackson's distinctive gait and mannerisms. A music executive who briefly considered purchasing the property reported experiencing what he could only describe as a private concert. While alone in the main studio, he heard Jackson's voice performing songs.
Nah, bring it back. Big G. That's the new name now.
That had never
Eric
been
hacks
released,
it, and then Flutie owns it. Exactly.
The most compelling evidence comes from the property's sophisticated recording equipment, which has allegedly captured hours of what appears to be Jackson's voice. Audio analysis confirms the vocal patterns match Jackson's known recordings, but the content includes commentary on events that occurred after his death. Children who have visited the property report seeing the nice man who dances in various rooms, describing him as looking exactly like Jackson during his Thriller era. These encounters are reportedly positive, with the children saying the figure seems happy to see them and sometimes appears to be teaching them dance moves. Paranormal investigators working under strict confidentiality agreements have supposedly documented phenomena, including instruments playing themselves themselves in Jackson's private studio. Mirrors reflecting images of Jackson that don't correspond to anyone present, and electromagnetic readings that spike in rhythm with Jackson's famous songs. The current caretakers of the property have reportedly learned to coexist with Jackson's spirit, treating the phenomena as manifestations of his continuing creative energy rather than frightening supernatural events. They describe feeling a sense of joy and music permeating the property as
Oh, you gotta beat a 19, Nachos. You gotta beat a 19. I don't know. Maybe you will. Who knows? Roll it. Roll it. Just try it. Just try it, Nachos. Just try it. Okay.
as if Jackson's spirit has found peace in this hidden refuge. Number 3, the River Phoenix tragedy where innocence haunts. River Phoenix's former house in West Hollywood, where he lived during his final months, has allegedly become a site of supernatural activity that suggests his innocent spirit remains earthbound and confused about his tragic fate. The property has changed hands multiple times, with each owner experiencing
that's the brother of the guy
and the circumstances of his death. Phoenix, known for his environmental activism and clean living,
Joaquin Phoenix brother, right?
That contradicted his public image. The house witnessed his internal battle between his idealistic nature and the pressures of Hollywood.
Honestly, Flutie, you would try a scratch off. Why don't you and Eric need to go do scratch offs? Also, did my camera freeze again and you bitches didn't tell me? Wow. I think that's a sign. I think it's my computer telling me I need to go log off and finish editing the video. Wow!
Conflict that many believe continues in death. The first owners after Phoenix's death, a director and his writer wife, reported seeing a young man matching Phoenix's appearance sitting in the garden, tending to plants and looking peaceful. When they approached these apparitions, they would dissolve like morning mist, leaving behind an overwhelming
every
sense
day.
of sadness. More disturbing were the encounters that seemed to reflect
every
Phoenix's
day.
final
Oh my
moments.
God, it's still frozen!
Several visitors to the house have reported seeing Phoenix's spirit in distress, appearing to beg for help or looking confused and lost. These manifestations typically occur late at night and are accompanied by dramatic drops in temperature. A young actor who lived in the house briefly described experiencing what felt like Phoenix's spirit trying to warn him about the dangers of Hollywood's party scene. During social gatherings at the house, electronics would malfunction whenever drugs or alcohol were present, and guests reported feeling an oppressive atmosphere that made celebration impossible. The supernatural activity allegedly became so intense that one owner hired a spiritual medium who claimed to communicate directly with Phoenix's spirit. According to the medium, Phoenix was trapped between worlds because his death contradicted everything he believed about life and spirituality, leaving him unable to accept what had happened. Environmental activists who have visited the property report feeling Phoenix's continuing passion for ecological causes. Plants in the house reportedly grow unusually well despite minimal care, and the property has become a sanctuary for wildlife that seems unnaturally comfortable around human presence. Most poignantly, several witnesses have described seeing Phoenix's spirit in the form he held in Stand By Me, an innocent child rather than the young man he was at death. These encounters typically occur in the house's library, where he appears to be reading books about environmental issues and spiritual philosophy. Legend has it that the current owners, an environmentalist couple, have embraced Phoenix's presence rather than trying to banish it. They've converted the house into an informal sanctuary for environmental education, and the paranormal activity has reportedly become more peaceful and inspiring rather than disturbing. Number 2, the notorious B.I.G. studio, where hip-hop legends never leave. The private recording studio in Los Angeles, where the notorious B.I.G. spent his final weeks working on music, has allegedly become a supernatural hotspot that the hip-hop community whispers about but rarely discusses publicly. The studio, still operating under a different name, houses phenomena that suggest Biggie's spirit continues to create music
There you go.
and beyond. Christopher Wallace was working on what would become his posthumous album Life After Death in this studio when he was murdered in
I can see why.
1997. Engineers and artists who worked with him during those final sessions describe an atmosphere of creativity mixed with underlying tension, as if Biggie sensed his time was limited. After his death,
Actually, I might need to pause it real quick and start transitioning out of here because I do need to go finish some editing. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. But yes, I'll go ahead and check it out. I'm gonna regret this. God damn it. It's on me, Chad. I should have switched my settings on TikTok. I forgot about that. TikTok takes a lot for my computer. Let me see. Hee hee ha ha. Okay, I get it. Wow. My life is a joke. It's always a joke. Alright, listen. I have to start getting ready to go finish editing this thing. I'm hoping to at least export it by tomorrow so I can have it live by Friday. Thank you guys for spending quality time with me. Sorry for all the technical difficulties today, but you know what? It made it fun. It made it a lot of fun. Thank you guys for spending so much time with me. I'm so appreciative of the whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. Flutie, you gotta roll. So we know what mess has to roll off from. Oh, Brenda, thank you so much for the rose. It scared the shit out of me. Oh my god. Flutie, are you in chat? Over on purple. Mess, you have to beat a fort. That scared the living shit out of me. Brenda, thank you so much for the roses. I appreciate it. Welcome. And hi over on the Clock app. We are hanging over on the purple app, aka Twitch, but I'm actually about to leave. But thank you so much for the roses. All of that goes back into the stream. So shout out to Brenda. Purple app, say thank you, Brenda. No! Mess, you did it! You fucking did it! You fucking knew! Shout out to Brenda. Thank you so much for liking the live. Appreciate it. And this is where I have to leave. I think it's my time to go. Oh my god! Okay, fine, Mess. You have to roll off. Mess, you gotta roll. I can't say bye until I do this roll off. Okay, for those that do not know, Mess just rolled a perfect 20. And so, Mess stays pinned. Alright, guys, thank you so much for spending that quality time with me. Appreciate you. We'll spend some time tomorrow playing some Rise of the Tomb Raider. We'll be live in 3 platforms. As always, welcome to hang out. Don't hesitate to join the Discord community. If you like, go ahead and follow me everywhere. New content over on TikTok. I'm currently working on a long-term video for YouTube, so expect that. Should be the next episode of Dispatch. And if you guys want to join all that and follow anywhere, follow on link in my bio, any of the small descriptions at the bottom wherever you're watching. And yeah, have a beautiful night. Bye, y'all! Bum, bum, bum. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. Are you guys still rolling off? Did I miss it? Wow, you guys are a mess.